Now, take for example two subjects that you should have a lot of prior knowledge about. One, ancient Egypt, and unless you were asleep for the whole 5th grade year, you should know a lot about ancient Egypt. And two, your own personal history. So, think back. What was ancient Egypt's geography like? You might mention something about the Nile. You might mention something about the desert. Now compare that to your own life and the geography that you come across in, let's say, walking to the park or just your neighborhood. How are they similar? How are they different? Think about how Egypt chose to rule over its lands. What type of government did they have? What types of laws did they enact? Now compare and contrast that with the own rules that you have to follow in your neighborhoods or in your communities. Look at religion. What types of deities did they worship in ancient Egypt? And I know this is a touchy subject, but how does that relate to your own life and your own experiences with beliefs and religion? And what about art and architecture? How is the architecture of your neighborhood similar or different to ancient Egypt's art and architecture? And what about social interactions? Who was allowed to go to school in ancient Egypt? Who wasn't? Who was on top of the social totem pole in Egypt? And how does that relate or differ from your own lives and, let's just say, your family structure? Who is on top of the totem pole in your family or in your community? Who controls and makes the rules in your families? Then we can look at education. What types of education systems did they have in ancient Egypt? What types of schools? What types of libraries? How is that similar or different than the schools, the libraries in your own neighborhoods? And finally, science and technology. You obviously have an iPad because you're watching this video right now. But what types of advances in science and technology did the Egyptians have? And how is that similar or different than the science and technologies at your disposal in your own lives? That's just one example. We're going to be looking at lots and lots of different societies, whether they're ancient or contemporary societies, and making comparisons across time. So remember GGREASES, and we're going to be using that throughout the year. Or not.